beer, chocolate, the Jewish community in Antwerp, Manneke Pis, Jamboree Faf, the FAFs, the program.
Chocolate, beer, multicultural city, French and Flemish people. French fries with mayonnaise, no government, Belgian beer, chocolates, Bruges, and European Parliament.
Hello everyone, or as I say in Belgium, goeiemorgen here, and welcome to Belgium. These pictures right here show you what Latifa, Alicia and Barbara think of our country. I understand when they pick Jean-Marie Pfaff as an example, because he represents the mentality of the Flanders and is really a respectful guy. But is Belgium not more than this? Of course it is, and I will show you by giving you examples out of a daily life and showing you interviews of people who will tell you what Flanders is really about based on our theory. Starting with these books, which are not just books, but they are part of the collection of all the rules and regulations that are in our country. Like the civil law book here, and these books shows us more than one thing. First of all, it shows us that the basic nature of Belgian beings is rather bad. Second, because we need all these rules to control our behavior. And second of all, it shows us how high we are on the uncertainty avoidance, because we need to follow these regulations and rules to do a particular thing. Still, I think that we live in an average mesh culture because of our wealthy economy and the fact that we're becoming less social and less religious. Here we are at the local supermarket. This place shows us how indulgent us Flemish people can be. We take as much as we can, but we are also restricted not only by our regulations, but also by the resources we possess. The more we earn, the more we take. This note here shows us how high we are in the uncertainty avoidance. We check and double check what we already have and what we need. We fully control the environment we live in. We build and we keep on building without caring enough about our nature. Still, there are some measures that are being taken, like the solar panels on the top of your roof, but there are too less to improve our environment. As we build our house, we also consider it as our own private property. It's seldom that you get access to one's property just like that. You'll be hunted away by the dog that's barking and the owner who's coming out and starts asking questions, just like here. I'm sorry.
I think that we as a Flemish people are pretty individual people. I think that there are things like Facebook and so on that create a society that is a lot more individual than it has been in the past. I think that there is a certain collective society, there is a certain consciousness in between Flemish people, but I think this is a lot, that it is less than it used to be in the past. Do we allow to join in cultures easily? I think there is a political system that tolerates people to move in themselves if they're willing to. I think that Flemish people have a very open mindset, that they do not have too much of a problem with people coming to Belgium, coming to Flanders, for example, but that they expect a certain level of willingness to succeed here and to move into the society themselves.
I personally try to keep it mixed, but I do not hide my private life to colleagues and so on. I think it's important for a sane relationship with colleagues to understand each other, and often you need, or it's easier to know a little bit of each other's private life. But it's not an aim, it's not mandatory in a work relationship to explicitly talk about private life. If you don't want to do it, you do not do so. If you want to share some things, you share some private things. I think I have some experience, for example, with people from India.
Yeah.
The percentage of sharing private things to colleagues is much higher than in our culture, for example.
This is a very difficult question, I find, because it's obvious that you don't live to work, but when you love your work, it's part of the living, and it's not an obligation. It's something that you like to do, and when you, I would hate it if I should leave my home in the morning and I said, oh, another bloody terrible day today. That must be a very tough situation. So no, for me it's I like to work, but I like to live also, and then this work has a lot of advantages also. So it's difficult to say I live to work or I work to live. In fact, it's the same. It's a continuum.
Yeah, you're in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the three past, present, and future are linked. Especially in my job, we act today with the knowledge of the past to prepare the future. So in this case, these three are linked. You can't separate. But it's obvious that it's the most important is to prepare the future for our children and our grandchildren. That's our duty, it's our obligation now. But you can't forget the past, because at that moment you would make the same mistakes as people before us made. So I think these three are linked. And then politics is a specific business, because every maximum 4 years you have to regain the votes or win more votes. So that's a rather short-term orientation, but I'm very convinced that we have to prepare the long term. So it's a little bit difficult situation.
I think in the current setup, we are asked for the competence multitasking. We need to be able to do several tasks at the same time, together with the good, the right setting of priorities. It's very important. And I think if you combine those elements, you should be able to manage your time. It's also important to really achieve, so not postpone tasks. And it's all related to a good time management, so good priority setting, and also the ability to multitask. I will use the verb.
Yes, let's start with the second one. I sometimes express my bad feelings toward my boss, but always in a positive way. Let's say if I do not agree with his strategical choices, let's say, I can always tell this to him. And if my opinion is really well supported with good arguments and so on, he will certainly listen to my opinion, and maybe even reevaluate his proper point of view. Here at my proper company, at my own company, we have a pretty open culture, and I think that is the way it should be. It can only be expressing your feelings toward a new strategy or a new idea can only improve the way that things eventually in the long term turn out. and this can be done at Randstad. I could say the name. Then, do I express myself, my emotions at work? When it comes to expressing my private and personal emotions, am I happy? Am I not too happy? Am I angry? And so on. I think that personally I'm not somebody that is well known for being a very emotional person. I really, but also in my private life, honestly, I really tend to keep my emotions for myself. Well, I think there is a certain power distance in Belgium, but it's not too big, honestly. If I'm only looking at my own job at this moment, and I'm looking at my chef and my colleagues and my chef's chef and so on, I think we can talk to each other using each other's first name. For example, it's Andreas, it is Anne. Anne is already my commercial director, but if I'm starting and writing an email, if I'm starting to write an email to her, I always start with "Dear Anne," and could you do this for me? I do not have to say thank you, and I think we can communicate in a professional way, with a pretty low power distance, as you call it. Also with my clients, when talking about candidates, when talking about commercial contracts and so on, I have contacts with managers, CEOs, directors, all kinds of levels, and there are differences in between different companies.
I think and I hope that it's not given as such to us, but that we have to work to earn the status we are looking for, to earn the confidence of people. So I hope that most people, and I think in the most cases, in the most current responsibilities, it is the case that you receive the status of people and recognition of people if your work, if it's in relation with the work and the way you do your work.
I think we come from a very masculine culture where power and strength and so were the values, but I think it's changing for the moment, and we are evolving in a more feminine direction, and I hope that it would be in balance, these two things. And when I say feminine, it's more on welfare and smallness and more environmental problems that keep the mind. So I hope, I think when it's too masculine, it's not so good. It has to be in balance, these two things. So, and I think we are evolving in that direction.
Of course, not all Flemish people are the same, and as an example, I'll show you the life at my place. I always respect others by applying the correct language and the correct behavior. Although sometimes it may go wrong, but problems are easily dealt with and are solved very rapidly. Don't be afraid to express your emotions here, because we will understand it if you explain to us. I greet my family with a kiss or a handshake. No. I even give the man in my family a kiss to show to greet each other in a very passionate way. In our neighborhood, we live very socially. We can walk in everyone's garden without any problem. And we can even walk in this garden and play with my little niece on the swing that's on the background there. So, that was my presentation on Flanders. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will enjoy the other presentations too. So, see you next time, or as they say in Belgium, salut!